At the dinner table, he unexpectedly found that his blind date was his high school classmate. The girl was also shocked to see that chairman. Both were embarrassed and only made small talk. She really didn't expect there would be a day when she would be so slim, thanks to him hearing these words. The girl gritted her teeth. It turned out that during high school, Jianan was often mocked and bullied, just because her father worked in an underwear company, and also because she was a chubby girl. Jianan thought that Bo Yin was genuinely kind to her and didn't make fun of her. But unexpectedly, Bo Yin insulted her in front of all their classmates. This made her feel deeply aggrieved. Bo Yin, even you wanted to deceive me. I hate you. After graduating, the girl became a writer, but her father wanted her to take over the underwear company. To protest against her father, she chose to leave. That is, until an invitation letter was sent, saying that she should return home to take over the company. To make her father give up on this idea, she signed a 3-year contract with him. So, today, let's sign a 3-year agreement. Within 3 years, I will come back home with a work that is popular all over the country and a handsome son-in-law. Otherwise, I will return home to take over the family business. Okay, then I will wait for you for 3 years. When there was only 1 day left until the end of the 3 years, Jianan reluctantly had to go on blind dates. She waited all afternoon, but all the people she met were not worthy. At this time, her father still didn't forget to remind her about the inheritance that would be announced in 3 hours. At this moment, she really felt anxious, like an ant on a hot pan, not knowing what to do. On the other hand, Bo Yin asked his assistant to monitor Jia Nan's every move. If anyone went on a date, the assistant had to mess it up. Time passed by minute. At this time, Bo Yin called and instructed his mother to go to the dating corner to see if there was a suitable daughter-in-law to bring home. So, if you really want to find someone, go to the dating corner in the park and see. There will definitely be a lot of ordinary girls there. Oh, okay. After hanging up, Bo Yin laughed like a pig squealing. Mrs. Tang followed her son's instructions and arrived at the location. Sure enough, she saw a girl on a blind date. She ran up and looked closely. It was someone she knew. Someone like this, knowing everything from her roots, is the most suitable person in my eyes to be a daughter-in-law. When Jianan saw Mrs. Tang, she was also very surprised because they hadn't seen each other in over 10 years. Who would have thought that the more Mrs. Tang looked, the more she liked her? Normally this Jianan is still single. Hearing this, Xiaoxi immediately understood that Mrs. Tang wanted to match her with her son. Smart as she was, she pretended to have something to do and immediately escaped. Mrs. Tang saw Xiaoxi leaving and dragged Jianan to dinner. Not long after they sat down, she secretly sent a message to her son. Soon, Bo Yin appeared. When Jianan saw the overbearing chairman, she felt so embarrassed that she wanted to dig a hole in the ground. When the two of them sat down, Mrs. Tang began to ask in detail, still single, "Oh, Jianan, what do you think of my son, Bo Yin?" Hearing Mrs. Tang's words, Jianan didn't know how to answer. Hearing her phone ring, she hurriedly said she had to go outside to answer the call. When the girl went outside, Bo Yin also followed. She only heard Jianan's father demanding that she return home to take over the family business, who would use their daughter's marriage as a threat. Besides, it's not like I can't get married. I really don't want to take over her underwear company. What should I do now? There are only 10 minutes left. Where can I find a boyfriend? After hanging up, Jianan heard the chairman mocking her. Jianan's wounds were exposed, and her anger flared up. Bo Yin, haven't you always wanted to see me make a fool of myself? Are you happy now? Are you satisfied? The chairman didn't expect that his thoughtless jokes would hurt Jianan. He felt guilty and hurriedly said that he was willing to marry her. Jianan heard these words and couldn't believe it. What was even more unbelievable was Mrs. Tang's reaction. "Mom, we're going to register our marriage tomorrow. If you two get divorced, go to the second room on the left. This is where you get married." "We're getting married?" The two people's words confused the staff member. Reacting, the woman quickly made a marriage certificate for them. "The two of you are voluntarily becoming husband and wife." You could say that. Jianan's words made the staff member even more confused. After everything was completed, the two of them went outside. They immediately met the two parents who were waiting for them at the door. Jianan's father, fearing that his daughter was lying, asked Jianan to take out the marriage certificate. Seeing the marriage certificate, her father was overjoyed. Who would have thought that Jianan's words would make the two elders confused? "Bo Yin and I have discussed it, and we plan to hold the wedding tomorrow." Tomorrow? Jianan's words also stunned Bo Yin. The two parents, who were as smart as monkeys, realized that Jianan and Bo Yin had gotten married and suggested that the two of them share a room. So tonight, you two just stay in the same hotel room. I'll book a room for you. Her mother-in-law's words made Jianan flustered. Bo Yin, fearing that the secret would be exposed, hurriedly said, "Mom, everything you do is for good luck." Jianan was pushed into a corner and could only agree. The next morning, they held a normal wedding ceremony, but there were very few guests. Both of them needed a marriage. Jianan needed to get married to keep her father from forcing her into marriage, and Bo Yin also needed a marriage to deal with his mother and the shareholders. When the officiant announced the two people's vows of love, "Now you may kiss your bride," who would have thought that in the middle of the kiss, the chairman suddenly dropped the bride, which made the guests below the stage skip a beat. Waiting for the guests to react, Bo Yin performed a perfect dip, making everyone applaud nonstop. Originally, they could be free tonight, but who would have thought that Mrs. Tang intentionally scattered longans and red dates on the bed, implying that they should have a child soon. On the other hand, Nan's father warned Bo Yin, "You must treat my daughter well, or else I won't let you off the hook." The two sly old folks intentionally said they forgot their bags. "I forgot to take my bag too." Seeing her son so eager made her very happy. After the two elders left, the chairman began to get straight to the main topic, but who would have thought that the man immediately took out a 1-year contract? "That's right. After 1 year, we will break up. Marriage is not a joke. We should consider it carefully. After 1 year, who knows what will happen? During the contract period, there must be no physical relationship. Neither party is allowed to expose the other's private life." Jianan did this because she held a grudge against Bo Yin for being mocked in the past. During the contract period, you are not allowed to interact with other people. If you can do that, then great. Just like that, the two quickly came to an agreement. The next morning, as soon as Jianan woke up, she saw the Bo family's butler driving a Ferrari to pick her up. When she saw the scene before her, she was surprised. The chairman's new wife couldn't stand the loneliness. So, she went to a bar with her best friend. The boy-crazy friend arrived at the door and didn't forget to post a status update on social media. Just when the chairman was in a meeting, he saw it, dropped several small projects, and went to the bar to catch his little wife. As soon as the two arrived at the bar, Jianan's boy-crazy best friend saw a man at the bar, intentionally flirted with him, and directly dragged him away in front of the crowd, leaving Jianan alone at the bar. Having no other choice, she also imitated her best friend, with a charming appearance, walked towards the bar. Seeing a man at the bar, she winked, shook her head, her expression shocking the men around her. The man looked closely. "It turns out to be my high school classmate, Jianan." "You're Jianan, right?" "I'm your old classmate, Jun Kai." At this moment, Jianan felt extremely embarrassed. The level of embarrassment reached its peak. Jun Kai, in order not to make Jianan feel embarrassed, suggested they have a drink together like old friends. Jianan couldn't handle alcohol. After a few drinks, she was drunk and didn't know what was going on. Just then, the chairman arrived in time. Bo Yin saw his little wife so drunk and immediately carried her home. Arriving home, she was not at all well-behaved, trying to make moves on the chairman, causing his hormones to spread throughout his body. Bo Yin had no other choice but to tie her to the bed. The next morning when she woke up, Jianan remembered what happened last night. She really felt like she had gone too far. She planned to take advantage of the chairman not being awake yet to escape. But as soon as she reached the door, she bumped into Bo Yin with his six-pack abs and perfect Adam's apple. She couldn't help but swallow her saliva, realizing she had lost control. Jianan wished she could slap herself a few times. What made her even more embarrassed was when the chairman noticed her infatuated expression. Since when did she become so shy? "You're both perverts." Being seen through by Bo Yin, Jianan panicked and ran back to her room. She prepared to pack her things to leave this dangerous man. But she found the wedding gift her father sent. What the hell is this? Dad sent his daughter such overly sexy outfits. This made Jianan really not dare to face anyone, and she quickly threw the clothes under the bed. Returning home, even though she tried to write her novel, her mind was filled only with images of Bo Yin and his six-pack abs. How could she have the heart to write a novel? Just then, the butler told her to come down for dinner. To avoid meeting the chairman, she lied that she wasn't hungry. The chairman downstairs heard that Jianan wasn't coming down to eat and intentionally cut off the house's internet. Forced into a corner, Jianan had no choice but to go downstairs. Seeing Bo Yin holding the remote control, she angrily demanded it back. But the chairman was taller than her. "We can't have any physical contact. Let go of the contract. I really didn't expect you to be such a person. The chairman took advantage of the situation, not forgetting to tease Jianan. The girl angrily stomped hard on the chairman's foot. The chairman, in pain, dropped the remote. Jianan snatched it and pressed it randomly, accidentally activating the security system, and the two were locked in the room. Seeing that she couldn't get out, Jianan was extremely worried. Hearing the chairman's phone ring, Jianan, to get revenge for not letting her out, hung up the phone, ran upstairs, and even locked the door. At a party, the chairman's wife came to find the chairman, but was chased out by the manager. Bo Yin saw his little wife being treated like this and was so angry that he bought the other party's company. The chairman's words surprised the manager and Ruo Shi. You don't easily invest in a company without potential. Why are you suddenly changing your decision tonight? I am willing to invest according to your valuation. This is not Bo Yan's style. With a heavy heart, Jianan walked out. At this moment, she felt hopeless, with no way out. Once the manager and her terminated the contract, it would mean her dream had shattered. She wouldn't be able to write novels anymore anyway. Reluctantly preparing to delete the next part, she heard a familiar voice. Just because you were rejected once, you're feeling so down on yourself? Chairman Bo Yin wants to cancel the contract with me. I'm done for. Bo Yin looked at his distressed little wife. He could only comfort her. Just because someone rejected you once, you're denying yourself. Listening to Bo Yan's words, Jianan decided to get back on her feet stronger than before. The next morning, the chairman arrived early at the director's company to sign the agreement. He did this for Jianan. As soon as he walked out the door, he saw Jianan coming to the company, which made him panic and run away. The chairman's escape confused his assistant, who didn't understand what was going on. The assistant stammered and left. The man standing behind the pillar breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't dare breathe heavily, or Jianan would be the end of him. That afternoon, the assistant passed by a coffee shop and saw Jianan with a man, so he hurriedly went back to the company to report to Bo Yin. Jianan at the coffee shop was completely unaware and still chatting casually. But I've never been in love, and I'm the chairman's little wife, and it's ambiguous. Doesn't your family already have a prototype? Isn't this already here, little wife? Her friend's words reminded her of Bo Yan's criticism. The chairman is the top choice. Meanwhile, the chairman, upon learning that his little wife was on a date with another man, hurriedly prepared to go to the coffee shop to catch them in the act. On the other hand, Jianan had just stepped outside when she received a call from the chairman. The very first sentence showed his checking up attitude. Jianan was in no mood to care about him and hung up the phone directly. The chairman, seeing Jianan hang up the phone, got angry and prepared to go home to investigate. Just as he reached the door, he met the mistress, who insisted on dragging the chairman to have dinner. At this time, Bo Yin was in no mood to have dinner with her. Bo Yin, what's with him? I already booked a restaurant, but he doesn't have time. Jianan returned home and dove into watching the chairman's overbearing video clips, completely forgetting that she had the volume turned up so loud. Bo Yin outside the room thought his little wife couldn't stand being alone in the room and was doing something embarrassing, and listening from outside, he became even more attentive. Come on, baby, keep going. Bo Yin heard the sounds coming from the room, curiously crawling to the door to eavesdrop. What does she want me to do? I think you should have your cousin move out first. The two of you living in the same house, it's hard to avoid causing misunderstandings. This is my house. I find it strange. How can a distant relative be more important than the relationship we've built up all this time? The chairman was signing the contract when he heard his assistant say Jianan was shopping with a man. He left behind a contract worth millions to go and claim his territory with his rival in love. Bo Yan's appearance at the mall greatly surprised Jianan because the chairman was busy with thousands of things. How could he go shopping with his contract wife? Aren't you busy with thousands of things? How are you so free that you come with me to do such low-class things? If one day others know you're Mrs. Liu, how embarrassed would I be? Just then, the man who admired Jianan called. The chairman, hearing the man's voice, immediately grabbed the phone to declare his ownership, and jealousy hung up. The chairman, to keep his little wife like a normal couple in love, took his girlfriend for a walk taking photos. To satisfy his little wife's desire, the chairman let Jianan wear a maid uniform. The two of them caused too much attention at the mall, causing people to take photos constantly. Because the two were too good-looking, Bo Yin, seeing too many people at the mall interfering with their date, pulled Jianan away. Meanwhile, the mistress, to find out why Bo Yin had been so cold to her recently, invited the assistant to dinner, something she had never done before. She said she was inviting him to dinner, but in her heart, she looked down on the assistant a bit. When the assistant gave the menu to the mistress, who would have thought that she would scornfully pick up her wine glass? The assistant, seeing this scene, felt like his heart was being cut because he also loved the mistress. After a tiring day, the two finally rested. Unexpectedly, Mrs. Tang came, her purpose being to have the two get closer, preferably having a baby. At dinner, Mrs. Tang bluntly said there was something that needed to be discussed seriously with them. When do you two plan to have children? Mrs. Tang's question almost made Jia Nan choke. The chairman, afraid that his mother would know they got married in July, deliberately changed the subject. Jia Nan could only awkwardly respond. Mrs. Tang reluctantly agreed. That night, the chairman, afraid that his mother would be suspicious, suggested that Jia Nan sleep with him. But Jia Nan would rather die than agree. I thought you couldn't hold back anymore. As your husband, how could I let my wife get so impatient? It's my fault. After provoking Jia Nan, the chairman left, leaving Jia Nan alone with jumbled thoughts. At this time, in her mind, it was like two little people were fighting. One side told Jia Nan that she should sleep with the chairman, while the other side said Bo Yin was just a playboy. Then, seeing Bo Yin come out after showering, seeing the chairman's perfect and sexy body, she finally couldn't control herself. The next morning, as soon as she opened her eyes, she saw a man in bed. Instinctively, a direct kick sent the chairman falling off the bed. Bo Yin, to successfully get his little wife to have a child, took her to eat street food. Seeing Jia Nan eating happily, he took out his phone to take a picture and posted it on social media. Unexpectedly, the mistress saw it and called Bo Yin to blame him. But the chairman didn't care about her little tricks and hung up directly. Therefore, the manager angrily opened a press conference, mocking and insulting Jia Nan. Today, a picture is circulating online of Bo Yin and a girl wearing a maid costume on a date at the mall. Regarding this, how do you feel? The mistress's goal was to put pressure on Bo Yin through the media, hoping that he would publicly acknowledge their relationship, as well as use this opportunity to make the media misunderstand that Jia Nan was a third party who interfered in their relationship. The next morning, Jia Nan saw the negative news about the two of them. The news reported that Chairman Liu of the Liu Group, Bo Yin, this is also his wife, has started a new relationship with a young girl in the fashion industry. However, Bo Yin had been in love with the famous actress Ruashi for many years but still remained single. The news clearly pointed out that Jia Nan was the third party. Hearing the news, Jia Nan angrily said that she wanted to end her marriage with Bo Yin. On the other hand, the mistress, seeing the negative news online, was overjoyed. Heaven is helping me. I'll give it another push. She wanted to make Jia Nan infamous, and from here on out, disappear from Bo Yin's house. The next morning, the mistress came to Jia Nan, indirectly asking her to move out of Bo Yin's house, saying, "This is good for everyone." The mistress said this just to make everyone misunderstand that Jia Nan had run away because she felt guilty. Just as Jia Nan left the house, the mistress immediately informed her fans to block Jia Nan's path. Unexpectedly, a large woman tried to attack Jia Nan, but was grabbed by Bo Yin. The woman became dazed when she saw it was Bo Yin, and drool filled the ground. The security guards, seeing the chairman surrounded by fans, quickly stepped forward to chase them away. That evening, Bo Yin held a press conference. He wanted to publicly announce his and Jia Nan's identities. When the mistress saw Bo Yin bring Jia Nan onto the stage, her heart was so tense that it almost jumped out of her chest. What followed made her even more devastated. Next, I want to solemnly introduce to everyone the image ambassador of this press conference, and also my wife. Hearing these words, the schemer completely collapsed on the floor. She truly did not steal a chicken, but lost a handful of rice instead. The next morning, as soon as Jia Nan arrived at the company, she was treated like a national treasure. This treatment was completely different from before. The chairman, to support his little wife, even invited a top chef to prepare breakfast and also sent breakfast to the company where Jia Nan worked. "Mrs. Liu, this is the breakfast that Chairman Liu prepared for everyone. Congratulating you for your novel's click count reaching a new record." The chairman's actions made some people admire him and others jealous. Taking this sour woman as an example, seeing that Jia Nan had gotten a chairman, jealousy made her start to make trouble for Jia Nan. Mrs. Liu has such a high status. Why not invite everyone to celebrate with a meal? The colleague next to her, seeing the woman's resentment rising, directly used a piece of cake to shut her mouth. At lunch, the chairman sent his little wife an unlimited card. Seeing a colleague with bad intentions towards Jianan, he angrily stepped between them, making Jianan jump in fright. After the boss left, the cunning girlfriend started to make trouble. She thought Jianan was just an idiot and wanted to scam her for a painful amount, forcing her to eat expensive things. Jianan didn't want to affect everyone's mood, so she didn't argue with her. Jianan not arguing didn't mean the boss didn't care. After eating, Jianan and the others were preparing to pay when they heard the waiter say, "The total is 5,891 yuan. Jianan was stunned when she heard this. She only had a total of 3,000 yuan on her. She was about to call Bo Yin when she saw the boss bring out a black card to support his little wife. The boss, knowing that his little wife didn't have enough money to pay for inviting her colleagues to eat, powerfully gifted his wife an unlimited black card. This made the mistress next to her go crazy with jealousy. If you feel a credit card is not convenient, I just help you open Alipay Intimate Pay too. There is no trap. The boss's display of affection this time made all the colleagues' eyes burn. The cunning girl next to her became even more jealous. Jianan had just been scammed for a painful amount by the mistress, and Bo Yin wouldn't let it go. She has just finished eating, let her pay for herself. She thought Jianan was an easy person to fool and wanted to rip her off painfully. But unexpectedly, she was embarrassed by the CEO on the spot. This made the mistress completely stunned. After Bo Yin finished speaking, he pulled Jianan away. The cunning girl stood still in place, furious. Just as they returned to the door, they met two little fans who were infatuated with Bo Yin. "You must release more lovey-dovey moments in the novel. Go for it, love. You guys." Jianan, seeing the two little fans, had her bad mood immediately turned better, walking as if she was light as the wind. The two of them, in a good mood, strolled around the mall. A woman next to them, seeing Bo Yin was handsome and also one of the richest men, kept giving him flirtatious glances. But in the boss's eyes and heart, there was only Jianan. He completely ignored the other girls. Seeing that the boss didn't pay attention to her, the woman ran up to approach him, saying that she wanted to get this guy's WeChat, asking if this guy could be so cruel to refuse her. When Jianan appeared, she saw the woman trying to steal her husband right in front of her, which made her unable to hold back any longer. Jianan immediately grabbed the boss's arm to assert ownership. "If you're going to call me older sister, then you should call him brother-in-law." The woman, hearing that the chairman was married, angrily left. The boss, hearing Jianan say that, laughed like a pig inside. Seeing the woman leave, Jianan's mood was extremely good. "We are suitable for marriage." Jianan, hearing these words, sadly left. Returning home, she locked herself in her room, trying to write a novel, but the boss's words always appeared in her mind. At this time, she didn't know what she was feeling. Two little characters appeared in her mind again. "It's all because you're infatuated with Bo Yan's beauty." No, Chairman Liu must have his reasons. Going back and forth. Chairman Liu is such an excellent man. It is unavoidable that other girls will appear beside him. While she was confused, she heard Bo Yan call her at the door. Her bad mood really didn't want to respond. Unexpectedly, the boss directly blocked her path. She pushed the boss away and left. On the other hand, the cunning girl, knowing that the boss went to Jianan's room to discuss a project, left her filming aside, ran over, and pretended to accidentally meet Bo Yin. When the boss saw the cunning girl appear at the hotel, he immediately understood the mistress's intentions. "I think you understand what I mean. What I said was very clear. Have you forgotten it all? I know you're acting, so even if the contract ends, we can still be together, right? Even if the contract ends, I will still continue to be with her. We have been best friends since we were little, inseparable. Rejected by the boss many times, holding hatred in her heart. She directly spread rumors online. That night, she got drunk on her own, thinking that Bo Yin would feel sorry for her, but the result was once again being coldly pushed away by the boss. Meanwhile, Jianan, finding out that the mistress had gone to a hotel with the boss again, went to a bar in a bad mood. She wanted to relax herself, not wanting to think about Bo Yin, that bad man. Seeing that it was quite late, but the boss still hadn't seen Jianan return. He was extremely worried, waiting at the door. Just at this moment, Jianan returned. The boss angrily directly pushed Jianan against the wall. This made Jianan angry. "Look carefully, I am not Ruo Shi." Jianan's words made the boss stunned. He didn't expect that Jianan would know about him being at the hotel. "You saw the news, you care a lot, right? I don't care. If you want to be with Ruo Shi, I don't care, but please don't control me." It is obvious that she cares, but she deliberately said harsh words. Truly, officials are allowed to set fires, but common people are not. Allowed to light lamps. I don't care how long you want to be with Ruashi. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other. Jia Nan's words made him completely stunned. This was the first time he had seen Jia Nan so angry. Regaining his senses, he hurriedly ran back to apologize. He knocked on the door for a long time, but no one opened it. Then he asked the housekeeper to get the spare key and open the door, but he saw that the room was empty. The boss, seeing that his little wife was on her period, thoughtfully brought many kinds of sanitary pads and also meticulously introduced how to use each type. This type is also made of cotton, but is thinner and more breathable. And there is also a longer type, which helps you not leak 360 degrees at night, the best choice for a good night's sleep. At this moment, Jianan felt extremely embarrassed and just wanted to find a hole to crawl into. She grabbed a piece of paper and ran away. The cleaning lady next to her couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. Bo Yan's mother, after finding out that her son and the mistress had caused a scandal, was so angry that she couldn't bear it and called to blame him. I don't care, I'm giving you 3 days. No, only 2 days. You only have 2 days to find my precious daughter-in-law again, or else don't even come to see me again. Initially, Bo Yin wanted to explain, but unexpectedly, his mother hung up the phone. After that, he saw his assistant panting as he ran in. Chairman Liu Yu and Ms. Su. What's going on? She has left home. The assistant's words clearly implied that he was a heartless playboy. The assistant, reacting, hurriedly changed the topic, saying, What's the scandal between you and the mistress at the hotel? How can you not be angry? The boss was strong-willed and didn't know how to express his feelings. The assistant had to find a way on the internet. You are an expert according to information displayed in China. When a wife is angry, the husband will not hesitate to kneel down, and this will get you forgiveness 99% of the time. Bo Yin, a person who is always arrogant and self-important. How could he kneel down in front of a woman? The assistant had no choice but to advise him to buy flowers to coax her. Unexpectedly, the boss would rather die than go and coax his wife. Bo Yin told his assistant to prepare to hold a press conference. He wanted to clarify the scandal. The assistant was shocked when he heard this. Once Bo Yin clarified it himself, it was clearly saying that he himself, the mistress, was a third party who interfered in other people's families, and this would destroy his future. The assistant earnestly requested that he talk to the mistress to let him clarify the matter himself. The next morning, the assistant went to find the mistress. The assistant spoke sweet words of advice to the mistress, but the mistress firmly disagreed. The assistant had no choice but to say that Bo Yin wanted to clarify it himself, and the result was that she was stopped. Once done, Bo Yin was angry. She shouldn't expect to be able to continue in the entertainment industry. Anyway, Chairman Liu's marriage has been made public. Let everything stay as it is. The assistant's words clearly wanted the mistress to know her place and withdraw. When he returned home, Bo Yin told his cute wife that Jia Nan's father knew about their contract marriage, asking her to go back to resolve it, and also talked about discussing the 30th anniversary event for the Su family. When Jia Nan heard that her father was going to organize an anniversary celebration, in her head she couldn't help but think of the old days at school. This is the newest lingerie model we produced, using all the best materials. Wearing it will ensure that your figure becomes more and more beautiful. Her father's actions made the teacher feel embarrassed. From that moment, she became the laughingstock of the school. No matter where she went, she was ridiculed by her classmates. Jianan finally couldn't stand it anymore. Even princesses have a temper, right? Don't you guys have to wear underwear too? If you have the guts, then don't ever wear underwear for the rest of your lives. It was Bo Yin who encouraged her, and when he saw Jianan become strong, he was very happy inside. On the other hand, with a mood that wasn't comfortable, he opened a press conference. Chairman Liu is definitely a husband who is loyal to his marriage, loyal to his family. He and Mrs. Liu have a very stable relationship. Please everyone, don't make arbitrary speculations. Just like that, his little wife felt much more comfortable inside after seeing the clarification notice. Just at this moment, she received a call from her father, requesting that they immediately return home. As soon as they arrived home, her father immediately took out a sexy set of underwear. Seeing this scene, she just wanted to find a hole to crawl into. The newly emerging woman, knowing that Jia Nan was organizing a 30th anniversary celebration for her company, and that the chairman was dancing at the opening, angrily went to the boss to demand that Jia Nan withdraw. Otherwise, she would not let the boss off the hook. At this time, Jia Nan couldn't hold back any longer either. She wondered who she was bothering or offending by dancing at her own company. She and Bo Yin had worked hard for so many years, experiencing so many difficulties. Do you know we are the real couple? I think you should know this. Then why didn't he invite you to dance? Jianan's words hit right into the schemer's state of mind. Seeing that Jianan wouldn't withdraw, the mistress angrily threw out a threat and left. Jianan, in a bad mood, went to her best friend to tell her about the mistress threatening her. Her hot-tempered best friend immediately wanted to run and tear the mistress apart with her bare hands. You said I danced a dance at my annual anniversary celebration. How did it provoke her so much? Her best friend said to her, this mistress is being pushed into a corner. The mistress and Bo Yin had been together for so many years, but the one who married him is Jianan. How could she not treat you cruelly? Jianan knew clearly about the cunning girl's schemes. Just at this moment, Bo Yin called, requesting that she look over the outfit that he had custom-made for her when she was free. After hanging up, she saw the outfit. She immediately liked the red color at first sight. On this side, the overbearing boss called Sophia, requesting that she custom-make an overbearing social outfit. The boss's conversation was heard by the assistant next to him, so he called and informed the mistress. Where did the boss order the annual celebration outfit? I'm missing an outfit, but I don't know where to order one. The assistant knew clearly that the mistress had impure intentions, but still decided to tell her the address because he also loved the mistress. On the other hand, Jianan went to the store to try on outfits. When she saw the room full of outfits, she was overwhelmed. And her best friend, seeing the beautiful outfits, couldn't lift her feet. Just at this moment, the staff brought the outfit for her to try on. When she put it on, she mesmerized everyone around her. Jianan wore the wedding outfit like a celestial being descending to earth, so beautiful that no one dared to offend her. Before everyone could react, they saw an uninvited guest arrive. The mistress immediately went to provoke Jianan. Knowing her purpose, Jianan didn't humor her. Are we that close? Why do we need to greet each other? Oh, and also, I'm already married. My husband's surname is Liu. Please call me Mrs. Liu. Jianan's words once again hurt the mistress's scheming mind, to the point that she no longer wanted to pretend and openly challenge Jianan. We'll get divorced in a year. Do I still need to change how I address you? As long as we haven't gotten divorced for even one day, I am still the legitimate Mrs. Liu. Jianan was not one to be easily bullied. She mercilessly mocked the mistress, her weak point being poked by Jianan. The mistress was determined not to let Jianan have an easy life. Their fight was accidentally seen by Jianan's best friend, who ran up and directly mocked and satirized her. Do you smell a strange smell here? It's really a strong smell. Her best friend's words were clearly aimed at the mistress. Even an idiot could hear it, making the mistress so angry that she wanted to explode. You're always on the outskirts clinging to Chairman Liu and intentionally taking pictures. Who do you think you are, talking to me here? What does Jianan and Chairman Liu's business have to do with you? Don't be shameless and cling to other people's husbands. Jianan's best friend wasn't as easy to talk to as Jianan, saying she is a big star but willingly became a third party. After saying that, the two of them left, leaving the mistress standing still in place, so angry that she almost evaporated. A poor couple, attending the party for the first time, unfortunately, wore the same color as a rising star, Ruashi, which made the people around feel confused. Mrs. Liu, you and Ms. Han have the same color outfit. Are you bothered? Mrs. Liu, Ms. Han said that she chose red because it was the color that Chairman Liu personally chose. So why did you choose red? Jianan knew the mistress's intentions. It was to make her feel embarrassed at the party. She had a flash of inspiration and threw the ball back to Ruashi. Bo Yin didn't expect Ruashi to be so despicable. She wanted to make Jianan feel embarrassed. He absolutely wouldn't let her get what she wanted. That is my friend, a designer, Sophia, who designed it specifically for Jianan. Sophia's designs always insist on blending with the temperament of the model. If Ms. Han needs it, I can introduce her. Bo Yan's words made the schemer lose face in front of the crowd. After saying that, the overbearing boss pulled his little wife out of there. At the party, the rhythm of the dance was joyful and relaxed. The red dress and black suit appeared alternately before everyone's eyes. Bo Yan's gaze never left Jianan. They trusted each other. The aura was completely open. The aroma of wine combined with the dance of the talented couple, a final dance that made the audience in the hall applaud endlessly. On the stage was the talented couple. Under the stage, Ruashi was alone, drinking sadly. Taking advantage of the moment when Jianan went to the bathroom, Ruoshi asked Bo Yin to invite her to a dance. Knowing that Bo Yin would definitely not pay attention, Ruoshi used the secret of their one-year marriage contract to threaten him, receiving a contemptuous look from Bo Yin in return. Xiao Shi's evening gown and Jia Nan's red dress were both from the same designer, equally beautiful, attracting a gentleman to invite her to dance. Xiao Kai was late, but as soon as he entered the room, he saw Xiao Shi and a stranger dancing in the middle of the floor. His jealousy boiling, he stepped forward and immediately pulled Xiao Shi into his arms. The two argued as if they were dancing with fire, as if Xiao Kai had rushed out because his brother was in trouble. But in reality, everyone was dancing happily at that time. There was no need for him to step in. The two brothers met to drink, and Xiao Shi and Xiao Kai began to compete with each other in drinking, always feeling that the other was lacking something, always wanting to make the other drink more. Jianan couldn't leave these two drunkards alone and came to stop them. Suddenly, Bo Yan's voice rang out at the party, calling her. Bo Yan invited her onto the stage, once again passionately declaring, "I have liked her since I was young, and I decided she would be my wife since I was young." Jianan stood in front of him. In Bo Yan's hand was a glittering ring shining with happiness. It turned out that Bo Yan had prepared it for her since their wedding day. In the space where everyone was blessing them, Ruoshi became lost and unneeded, left alone. Bo Yan was drunk, Xiao Shi and Xiao Kai were also drunk. Only Jia Nan was sober, carrying Bo Yin back to the room. Seeing that Bo Yin was dead drunk, if she didn't leave now, she was afraid she would lose her virtue. But Bo Yin called her back, not allowing her to leave, and went to take a shower. Jianan dried Bo Yan's hair. He couldn't even recognize himself in the mirror, only feeling that the person in the mirror was so beautiful. Of course, he was beautiful. Jianan had put makeup on him and put a wig on him. Just as she turned off the lights and was preparing to go to sleep, Bo Yin suddenly hugged her tightly, vaguely telling her not to leave. In the end, what did Bo Yin experience when he was young that made him so afraid of the dark? Jianan stayed by his side until morning. And so, the next morning, Bo Yin loudly yelled Jia Nan's name in front of the mirror. Xiao Shi and Xiao Kai were also so drunk that they didn't know what was going on. When they woke up, the two were naked, not knowing what had happened. In the Lu Corporation's office, she came again to talk about the beautiful memories that she treasured alone, getting more and more agitated as she spoke, forcing Bo Yin to get a divorce. Otherwise, she would cancel the contract with the Lu Corporation. Bo Yin went with the flow and met her desires, contacting Yu Chuan and Ruoshi to resolve the contract cancellation. Xiao Kai went with Xiao Shi to audition today. The director made things difficult for her, requiring her to act out all kinds of emotions with a durian. Almost the entire plate of durian was eaten, but the director still said it wasn't suitable. Xiao Shi vomited nonstop. Xiao Kai was always by her side, proactively suggesting that he would come with her for the next audition. In the Tao Ran Literary Society, everyone called Jia Nan Mrs. Lu when they met her. In reality, everyone knew that without that aura, Jia Nan was almost unknown. Her colleagues talked about her like that behind her back. Media interviews also mainly focused on her relationship with Bo Yin and Ruoshi. Before she was a lingerie queen, and now she is Mrs. Lu, always carrying the aura that others attached to her. Never having her own name. When could she be just Jianan? Bo Yin suddenly appeared next to her, also anxiously asking, "What is Mrs. Lu doing?" Jianan didn't want to be covered by someone else's aura, and she didn't want to become an accessory of Bo Yin. This seemed confusing to Bo Yin. Why is it not better for a husband to help his wife realize her dream of writing novels? In the end, it was Yu Chuan who opened the eyes of the dreamer. If all of Jia Nan's dreams were realized by Bo Yin, then Jia Nan wouldn't feel a sense of accomplishment, and there would be no place for her to express her own value. In a feeling of oppression, Jia Nan went to the bookstore to choose books and find inspiration, and at the same time, a strange hand touched the same book. After a few conversations, Jia Nan was comforted quite a bit. This gentleman received a text and left because he had something to do. The gentleman who was called Chairman Kong in the call just now was sitting opposite Director Gua, discussing the script together. After reviewing it again and again, they discovered that the handling of emotions in the script wasn't refined enough and needed to be adjusted. They could contact the author of the Tao Ran Literary Society to make adjustments. In addition, they also needed to quickly determine the actors. Rui Cheng approached Ruoshi's assistant, inviting Ruoshi to sign a contract. Even though she hadn't finished paying the penalty for her contract with Lu Corporation, the assistant continuously asked Ruoshi to go for a meeting to negotiate. Therefore, things had changed with generous compensation and a good project, a grand signing ceremony. Ruo Shi and Chairman Rue Chung of the Rue Gene Group happily cooperated. Falling into a creative rut, Jianan decided to take a break for a while. She couldn't always write about herself and Bo Yin. After explaining to President Du immediately felt heartache. So many readers are following the literary website because of this novel. Jianan's break caused concern about the interest in the literary website. At this time, Chen Xian reported to President Du, "No one wants to do the job of adapting the screenplay. It's hard work and unappreciated." But Jianan, who just happened to need to adjust herself, immediately volunteered to take on the task. Bo Yin, at home, was watching explanations about marital relationships on television, saying that one needs to understand and give the other person space. Jianan said she needed to go work elsewhere for 2 months. You just learned that you have to understand the other person. It's just 2 months. It's normal for Jianan to want to go out to train herself. Therefore, that's not allowed. 2 months is too long. Bo Yin couldn't bear it. Xiao Shi had a new audition. Xiao Kai, as promised, accompanied her. This time, she was auditioning for the role of a flirtatious woman. In front of the camera, she wasn't shy at all and was very comfortable. But as soon as the audition ended, she always pulled her collar tightly. The director assessed, "You have good qualities." In the changing room, after changing into her everyday clothes, the director suddenly appeared, grabbed Xiao Shi's hand, and dreamily taught her to release her instincts. This was clearly harassment. Xiao Shi warned him the first time, but the director still didn't change. The second time, she directly kicked him accurately in his sensitive spot. Xiao Kai, hearing the noise, quickly came. Seeing Xiao Shi hit someone, he quickly stepped forward to stop her. But after understanding the reason, it was because the director wanted to sexually harass her. Xiao Shi, pushing him away, immediately switched to fighting back, adding kicks, making the director scream miserably. The two were discovered by the staff, and then hurriedly ran away. Xiao Shi gratefully kissed Xiao Kai on the cheek and made a date to go audition again next time. Bo Yin and Jianan finally agreed on the 2-month business trip. Jianan only needed to complete the couple's to-do list to be able to go to work as a fair exchange. Bo Yin also had to agree to wear cute, innocent couple outfits with Jianan. The two rode a tandem bike together on the beach, strolling and chatting slowly. Bo Yin told Jianan that he was always her most loyal audience. Director Guo went to the Tao Ran Literary Society. Xiao Kai immediately asked him about choosing actors for the new play and enthusiastically recommended Xiao Shi. On the audition day, Xiao Shi walked out with a gloomy expression, then suddenly shouted, "Enjoy," because she had been chosen, startling Xiao Kai. The night before leaving, Bo Yin had prepared many things for Jianan in a scattered fashion. But the next day, when Jianan left the house, she didn't see Bo Yin's shadow anywhere. She went outside to see what Bo Yin was doing. It turned out that Bo Yin had arranged everything for a trip this time since early morning. Everything was undeniably top class. A house car was divided according to its function of use. The interior was spacious and bright. The maid also graduated from a culinary school, fluent in 8 major cuisines, able to clean and cook. Even the driver was a former Special Forces soldier working security. Jianan was so shocked that she was stunned. Her arrival at the film crew with such a powerful team. People who didn't know would think she was the main actress, let alone how she could hide her identity to learn and accumulate experience. Therefore, the house car turned into a bus, the chef turned into boxed lunches, and the security guard turned into Xiao Shi. Jianan didn't bring anything, just a book and luggage, going to meet Xiao Shi at the train station, and then together, they went to Luochuan City to join the crew. When they left, she and Bo Yin also established 3 new rules. Not to come to the film crew, not to investigate the film crew, and even more so, not to invest. She wanted to stay at the film crew for 2 months normally. In the green, refreshing town, the film When Time Stops Flowing finally began filming. All the staff gradually gathered. Jianan and Xiao Shi also successfully entered their lodgings, with large and bright rooms exuding a peaceful space. The life of the film crew had finally begun. Early in the morning, Jianan gave the script she had revised to the director for review. The director greatly appreciated it, leading her to meet the main screenwriters of the film crew, and also meeting the female lead of the movie, Ruo Shi. The two looked at each other, and sparks flew. In the afternoon script reading, Jianan explained the revised parts in detail to everyone. If there were any errors, everyone could point them out immediately. Unexpectedly, Ruo Shi, who usually didn't participate in script readings, unexpectedly appeared. At the scene today, took the script, and in just a few sentences, almost completely rejected Jia Nan's revisions. Xiao Shi, upon hearing this, couldn't hold back her anger and exploded. After Jia Nan comforted her, she also had to stay up all night to revise a new version, and Bo Yin made a video call late at night to revise it with her. Occasionally, Jia Nan asked for his opinions, and they spent a sweet all-nighter with improvised answers. Early the next morning, Ruo Shi had already started to get angry. It turned out that it was because her assistant had carelessly brought a bouquet of flowers that a fan had given to Ruo Shi, bringing it without checking. Ruo Shi was allergic to lilies, causing her to yell at her assistant in the house. Today's first scene was a confrontation between Xiao Shi and Ruo Shi, talking about one person being a traitor and the other coming to confront them. To Xiao Shi's surprise, Ruo Shi, after speaking, suddenly raised her hand and slapped her. Xiao Shi was both surprised and angry. After that, several takes continued to be cut quite a bit. That night, back in their room, Jia Nan felt heartbroken for Xiao Shi and put on a face mask. Remembering Ruo Shi scolding her assistant early in the morning, the next scene was the male lead confessing his love to Ruo Shi. He had a bouquet of lilies behind him. When the emotion reached its peak, he unexpectedly gave them to her. Ruo Shi, without looking, sniffed the flowers, then sneezed loudly and realized that something was wrong, and hurriedly ran away. Xiao Shi and Jia Nan stood to the side, watching the scene, and applauded proudly. When reading the script again, Ruo Shi, holding a handkerchief, also came to criticize, saying that the problem with Jia Nan's script was too big. You can't even revise a script properly, it's obvious. If the screenwriter wasn't replaced, then Ruo Shi declared she wouldn't film. Jia Nan couldn't stand her intentional fault-finding. Anyway, I'm leaving soon, I don't care anymore. She stood up and criticized Ruo Shi's bad habits. Ruo Shi, provoked, once again raised her hand to hit Jia Nan, but was stopped by Chairman Rui Chung. Jia Nan remembered this man from the bookstore, the one who had chosen the same book as her. It turned out that this person was the chairman of Rui Jin Entertainment, the company that had just signed a contract with Ruo Shi. Rui Chung. This person was polite, refined, and elegant, stopping Ruo Shi and asking Jia Nan not to worry, the script that you revised is fine. That night, Rui Chung found Ruo Shi to talk. Ruo Shi shouted, telling him that Jia Nan was Bo Yan's wife. Rui Chung showed great surprise for a moment. Therefore, in the following days, when Jia Nan came to ask for his opinion, Rui Chung always refused. Until one time, he accidentally got a cut on his arm. Jia Nan rushed over and used a temporary bandage to wrap it for him. This scene seemed familiar. Once before, he had chased after someone and had also been accidentally cut. Coincidentally, it was also a girl wearing a mask who had used a bandage to wrap it for him. It turned out to be Jia Nan. He wanted to be happy, but Ruo Shi's shouting still echoed in his ears. That night, Jia Nan dreamed that Bo Yin was lying next to her. Indeed, she missed him, just as he was about to kiss her. Jia Nan was awakened by the alarm clock to start work. On a deep mountain road, in the high mountains, a few trucks were stopped. Next to them were erected tents and all kinds of filming equipment. People stood like small dots, like ants. Suddenly, an explosion rang out in the clear sky. Someone holding a spoon tapped on a pot lid, calling everyone to come eat, causing everyone to gather. Xiao Shi and Jia Nan each took a bowl of cabbage and tofu soup. Besides that, there was nothing else. The food for the film crew was really not good. The two looked at the thin soup and couldn't swallow it. On the other side, Ruo Shi still had 4 dishes, but in Ruo Shi's eyes, these things weren't even fit for human consumption. The film crew really didn't have money, and the food not being up to par was understandable. The director begged everyone to bear with it for the time being. Ruo Shi had no choice but to start chewing on a steam bun. Unexpectedly, someone called Jia Nan to receive food from outside. Only then did they see a brown bear riding an electric car into the filming area, energetic, adorable, and a little mischievous, setting up a square table, spreading a tablecloth, on it were all kinds of snacks and diverse dishes along with a small speaker. The brown bear had prepared lunch for her, bravely stepping forward with a round belly. "My dear gentleman, please, Jia Nan, sit down in front of the abundant table of food." The brown bear turned on the speaker from a square box, starting to release flower petals into the air. Delicious food, music, and flower petals together. Suddenly, Jia Nan's world became bright. Jia Nan generously invited everyone to enjoy it together. Everyone gathered around. Only Ruo Shi was still. angrily chewing on a cold steam bun. From then on, the majority of people in the film crew loved the bear guy, because as long as the bear guy came, the film crew's food could rival normal life. On rainy days, everyone was crammed under the eaves. Jianan didn't have space to squeeze in, so the brown bear quietly appeared behind her, holding a large umbrella for her, sheltering her from the wind and rain. In the summer, mosquitoes were also a major nuisance, so the brown bear would bring rose water to Jianan when she was focused on the script, circling her to eliminate the mosquitoes. When the weather was hot, the brown bear would distribute drinks to all the members of the film crew. Everyone gradually became close and attached to him, until one day, the brown bear waited for Jianan under her house. She stood there waiting listlessly, leaning against a tree, just like the time Bo Yin had waited for her in front of her room. As expected, you did do this because she is you, Bo Yin. Today, there was a crowd scene, and the actors weren't enough, so the film crew participated. The brown bear and Jianan were lucky enough to be selected to participate as extras, playing lovers. When the director started filming, Jianan took off Bo Yan's bare head. The long-lasting longing turned into a hot and passionate kiss. At the Tao Ran literary website, Xiao Kai appeared, fawning over President Du, to be able to meet Xiao Shi. Xiao Kai tried his best. The movie When Time Stops Flowing has the participation of the famous star Ruo Shi, along with the contribution of the famous director Gua. It will definitely create a sensation. If the Tao Ran website buys the rights to develop the novel of this movie, when the movie becomes popular, a large number of readers will come to the website to read it. But the prerequisite was to buy the rights, which needed money. Xiao Kai volunteered to find advertising sponsorships for the movie, so that a sum of advertising money could be used to buy the rights. And then when the movie became popular, they could also earn a profit. In a restaurant, Bo Yin and Jia Nan were treating Xiao Shi to a meal. One person was peeling shrimp for the other, and the other was sweetly eating the shrimp. Only Xiao Shi had a look at these two lovebirds. Losing her appetite, angrily got up and left, and immediately received a call from Xiao Kai. On the phone, Xiao Kai was drunk, boasting about himself. Not long from now, I will definitely bring a surprise to Xiao Shi. Rui Qing watched the Su family's annual celebration with a face as if he had encountered something unpleasant. Observing the scene of Bo Yin and Jia Nan dancing to music, indeed a talented and beautiful couple, the assistant suddenly came in to ask about the company encountering financial problems. He instructed his assistant not to make a big deal of it. He still had things to be busy with. But downstairs, he met Bo Yin taking Jianan back to her lodgings. Jianan only then found out that Bo Yin and Rui Qing knew each other. Not only did they know each other, but Bo Yin and Rui Qing were also rivals in the business world, and Jianan was also being dragged into the conflict. Bo Yin initially wanted to take Jianan away, but he was told by Yu Chuan that there was something that needed his attention. He had no choice but to leave Jianan alone here. After careful instructions, he left Luochuan. A few days later, the movie When Time Stops Flowing welcomed a series of strange sponsors. From then on, the fantasy love story was combined with rural tricycles and flat-bottom pants. Xiao Shi filmed several days of bizarre, awkward, and funny scenes, just wanting to curse the person who brought these strange sponsors. After that, knowing that the person was Xiao Kai, she was unable to bear the anger and decided to abandon this nuisance. For 2 days, Jianan stood to the side watching the excitement, just as she was happily enjoying herself. Unexpectedly, Chairman Rui Qing called her. Rui Qing's company was having problems with their financial chain. This movie was also invested in by Rui Jin Entertainment, so Chairman Rui Qing wanted to ask for Jianan's help. Rui Qing approached Jianan, directly admitting to her that the company was having problems with their financial chain. To ensure the film crew's filming progress and considering the financial problems, Chairman Rui Qing requested that Jianan revise the script, cut down, and condense the expensive scenes, thereby reducing production costs. The strange thing was that during this meeting, Ruo Shi just sat and listened throughout the whole process, without saying a single word. The next morning, Rui Qing led Jianan to Ruo Shi's room. This time, Ruo Shi's attitude towards Jianan was almost friendly, even humbly learning about getting into character. Jianan and Rui Qing complied with her request, personally demonstrating the psychological performance of the scene for her to see. While they were not paying attention, Ruo Shi secretly recorded Jianan and Rui Qing's acting. If the beginning and ending of the lines were ignored, it sounded passionate and sincere. Just at that moment, Jianan's phone rang. It was Bo Yin calling. Ruo Shi, taking advantage of the two of them acting and not paying attention, secretly answered the phone, sending the passionate and edited lines into Bo Yan's ear. On this side of the phone were affectionate love confessions, and on the other side was silence. Bo Yan felt surprised and angry to the point of being a mess. After hanging up the phone, she was extremely happy, endlessly praising the two's acting. After explaining the script to Jia Nan returned to her room and again received a call from Bo Yan. He was determined that she return. Except for being by Rui Cheng's side, he could bring her to any film crew. Jia Nan had her own intentions and goals. She didn't want to achieve these things easily through Bo Yan's interference, which was why she had come to this film crew. Unexpectedly, it had only been a short time, and Bo Yan was already starting to manage and take care of everything for her. They couldn't find common ground, and both angrily hung up the phone. That night, Jia Nan revised the script, with Rui Cheng accompanying her. Meeting again the girl with the headband whom he had been searching for all these years, he didn't know if it was fate or a blessing from heaven. Rui Cheng stood up and tied the headband for Jia Nan again. Bo Yan hurriedly came to the film crew, and as soon as he stepped in, he witnessed this scene, getting so angry that he punched Rui Cheng. Jia Nan hurriedly intervened, saying that this person was truly crazy, running from so far away to the film crew and throwing a punch without asking anything. Bo Yan was angry because of the intimacy between Rui Cheng and Jia Nan. Now, even the headband could be tied for her. This showed how intimate they were. And Jia Nan was angry because she had clearly said before not to interfere or look for her. But now he had forgotten everything. And also because of his overbearing possessiveness and without understanding, he had unreasonably hit someone. Throughout all these years, Bo Yan was still the person who liked to bully others and considered himself right. When the snipe and the clam fight, the fisherman profits, she stood in the shadows watching the show, extremely happy. After a big fight, both of them went through a long period of gloom. Bo Yan was often distracted during meetings, and Jia Nan didn't have a good appetite and was tired mentally. Even so, she was still not satisfied with this. She wanted to completely destroy the two of them, not just Bo Yan and Jia Nan arguing for a few days and then reconciling. She approached Rui Cheng's assistant, mixing 3 parts truth with 7 parts lies. The assistant, for the sake of Chairman Rui and Jia Nan, did not regret anything. Bo Yan and Jia Nan continued not talking to each other. These days were truly unpleasant. When he was young, Bo Yan had said mocking words to Jia Nan over the school loudspeaker. He remembered that day. Jia Nan had cried, saying that he was a liar. And now, when they were married, Jia Nan still said that he was a liar. Unexpectedly, after so many years, he still disappointed Jia Nan like this. But where did that come from? Out of fear of losing her, fear that Jia Nan wouldn't like him, fear of feeling inadequate. He tried to give things without asking if Jia Nan ultimately liked them or not. She proactively took on the task of advising Jia Nan. Bo Yan was indeed very overbearing and unreasonable, but he was also truly someone who spoiled his wife. And after being with Bo Yan, Jia Nan herself also became braver in terms of her emotions. This showed that she loved him, not by endlessly working to deceive herself. Instead of both of them suffering, why not try to communicate? The cold war always had to end, so why not end it sooner to let warm spring flowers blossom? They were both trying to call each other. Unexpectedly, Jia Nan's phone rang, but it was Rui Cheng, reminding her that the day to go on location scouting was coming up. Yu Chuan, seeing his boss looking so tired and dejected just because of a love affair, thought, "A business genius is like an idiot when it comes to love." The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He loudly questioned Bo Yan, "Is there anything you don't dare to risk trying? Is the feeling of a loser in love comfortable?" The words pierced his heart with pain. Bo Yan finally couldn't bear the strong longing that love brought. He wasn't a coward. He thought he had to go find his wife. Late at night, Jia Nan was still sitting in front of the computer revising the script. Perhaps tonight, she would again think of Bo Yan. She remembered the day before she joined the film crew. Bo Yan had run over several times to send her the things for the trip. Now, those things were still there, but what was Bo Yan doing now? Early in the morning, the weather forecast had reported that there would be heavy localized rain. Rui Cheng, dressed in a suit, was preparing to go with Jia Nan to see the layout of the outdoor scene. But his assistant stepped forward to stop him, saying that Director Gua had urgent matters to discuss. In the end, he gave full decision-making power to Jia Nan, letting the assistant lead her to choose the filming location. The outdoor filming location was a large building, surrounded by greenery, like an old abandoned construction site. This building was very suitable for the story's theme. Jianan decided to go up to the rooftop to take a closer look. The assistant, of course, let her go freely. This was exactly what they wanted. The door leading to the rooftop had only one small door. Besides that, the place was wide open and quiet. As the sky gradually darkened, the sky also became gloomy. Jianan took a few pictures around the rooftop. When she returned to the door had been locked from the inside. It was about to rain, so she called her assistant, but the other side said the signal wasn't good, and when they went to check, they couldn't open the door either. This was extreme bad luck. The assistant used the excuse of going to find someone to help, but in reality, he snuck downstairs and then called and reported to Ruoshi. They wanted Jianan to be soaked by the heavy rain and lost. Only then would they inform Rui Chung. A rescue in the rain would be a valuable favor. After a flight, Bo Yin was standing in front of Jianan's house again, knocking on the door, but no one answered. He called, but because of the stormy weather, he couldn't get through. After a few seconds of not hearing anything, he only heard Jianan say, "She's at the abandoned building." Bo Yin hurriedly set off for the abandoned building, not caring about anything. Ruoshi, just returning to her lodgings from outside, seeing Bo Yin, her first reaction was to stop him. You can't ruin the plan because of one accident. She wanted to pair Rui Chung and Jianan together. Ruoshi hugged Bo Yin, using hackneyed words to lament, but in Bo Yin's eyes, none of it mattered. Nothing was more important than him appearing next to Jianan. At this moment, he pushed Ruoshi away and left immediately. Ruoshi fell to the ground and called Rui Cheng's assistant. It's time for him to become the hero who saves the beauty. Let's see who's faster. Bo Yin was on the rooftop of the abandoned building. The sky was pitch black. Thunderstorms with rain fell from the sky. Jianan hid behind a load-bearing column, thinking about the dark sky, and she thought of Bo Yin. She played the escape room game. He can't stand a moment of darkness. How could he get up here? Just as Jianan had said. As soon as Bo Yin rushed into the dark corridor, fear had enveloped him. He started to pant, his legs involuntarily went limp, and he finally slumped to the ground. He remembered his childhood moments, the times he had been kidnapped and locked in a dark room where no one paid attention. The pains, like ant bites, slowly swallowed him. Now it was only him. Aside from breaking through this impasse himself, no one could help him. Jianan, wait a little longer. Finally, the door to the rooftop was opened. Bo Yin didn't care about anything and called out for Jianan, the person he had missed day and night. She was finally in his arms. In the rainy night, their burning longing filled each other. Indeed, they were both people who were tormented by longing and couldn't bear it. Because they loved each other, there was nothing they couldn't concede and nothing they couldn't comply with. Bo Yin proactively suggested taking her back to her lodgings. Jianan said that the script revision was almost done, and she wanted to go home. Therefore, they embraced and kissed under the knowing eyes of Rui Chung, who had arrived late. Bo Yin returned, not taking Jianan home, but first going to the school where they had once attended together. Under the large tree on the green lawn, the box that Bo Yin had sworn to protect was opened. Inside was a torn picture, on which was a chubby Jianan as a child, and Bo Yin smiling brightly. The words in the radio broadcast that day were only broadcasted halfway. He never had the opportunity to say the rest. Today he definitely had. To tell Jianan. The first half of the sentence was, "No one wants to be friends with a fat girl." The second half was, as Bo Yin turned on the radio, "But I, Bo Yin, like her." These words had been lacking an explanation for all these years, and today, they were finally clarified. Jianan happily kissed him. After their feelings had been conveyed, Bo Yin proactively invited Jianan to share the bed with him. From then on, Chairman Liu and Mrs. Liu were truly a perfect match. That night, on the same bed, Bo Yin moved closer to her. Jianan couldn't help but feel embarrassed. After turning off the lights, Bo Yin suddenly became like a frightened bird. The next morning, Jianan wanted to ask about this, but Bo Yin avoided it. It wasn't until she asked Yuchuan that she found out that Bo Yin's birthday was coming up, but he had never celebrated that day. It was also the anniversary of Bo Yin's father's death, and it was the day he had planned to explain to Jianan about the accidental broadcast. How did all of this relate to his fear of the dark? Jianan couldn't help but guess. She cherished the feelings that Bo Yin had for her and wanted to help him overcome his fear even more. It wasn't until she truly asked Bo Yin that she found out. That day he had planned to invite Jianan to explain, but he was kidnapped by his father's business rivals. When he was rescued and went to meet her under the big tree, only a torn picture was left. His father also suddenly passed away from heart disease that day. His family, friends, and his own safety all abandoned him on the same day. Bo Yin lost his sense of security. Every time his birthday came, he became sad. That night, Jianan brought a blindfold and went to Bo Yin, wanting to help Bo Yin not be afraid of the dark. Jianan put the blindfold on Bo Yan's eyes. Darkness immediately swallowed the light, robbing away all sense of security. Bo Yin once again tensed his body, his hands clenching anything he could grasp, trying to overcome the fear like a deep abyss. But he couldn't do it, hurriedly pulling the blindfold down and breathing heavily, absorbing the beauty of the light. This wasn't what Jianan wanted to see. Bo Yin couldn't continue to be afraid. Stopping and not moving forward would only imprison him forever. She once again helped Bo Yin put on the blindfold, gently telling him that she would always be by his side, step by step, in a playfully adorable way, coaxing him to stand up. In the darkness surrounding him, they played hide-and-seek. Bo Yin was both panicked and unable to hide his joy, pursuing the voice and the fingers that touched him little by little. His mood became much lighter. Finally, he embraced Jianan in the darkness. This big step forward was exchanged for Jianan's proactive kiss, sweet and worthwhile. The next day, when Bo Yin returned home after work, he saw Jianan arranging candles, and his mood was quite good. His wife had learned how to create a romantic atmosphere for love. In reality, this was the next step in Jianan's psychological therapy. Step by step, slowly making Bo Yin adapt to the darkness. Tonight, the only source of light was the few candles on the table. She would turn off all the lights in the villa, so could Chairman Bo Yin dance a dance with her? The darkness that Jianan had been afraid of descended again, more so than last time. Bo Yin tensed up again, his face becoming blank and empty, looking in one direction. When he was sinking into the mud of fear and unable to free himself, Jianan lifted his hands, hugging her waist. Her hands gently rested on his neck. Bo Yin could clearly feel his lover in his arms. The fear gradually dissipated. In the quiet room, only the two of them gently swayed in the darkness with the help of candlelight. They could clearly see each other's eyes, and everything seemed so beautiful. After achieving the initial effect twice, Bo Yan's mental state had improved significantly. Today, Jianan led him to the underground parking lot, where Bo Yin would face his final challenge. The parking lot was cold and empty. After the power went out, there was no more light, submerged in vast darkness. Bo Yin was as if he had fallen into an icy lake. The small, dark room where he had been kidnapped when he was young seemed to have pierced through time and space to appear before his eyes. His hands were tied. His cries for help went unanswered, as if he had been abandoned by this world. He called out Jianan's name in despair. Only a voice, not too close and not too far, said to him, "You were originally free. No one is binding you. The past will eventually pass. You shouldn't be haunted by those memories forever. You have to go find Jianan. She is definitely waiting for you." He opened the door, welcoming the long-awaited light and his beloved. The fear of the dark had been overcome, so perhaps Bo Yan's upcoming birthday should also be celebrated. The birthday person himself definitely didn't want to celebrate. Yuchuan immediately informed Jianan, asking her to think of a way, hoping to resolve the issue of his birthday. After the meeting, Bo Yin returned to his office, seeing a gift box that was half the height of a person. He had never bought anything online or received gifts. This mysterious object appeared here, so he immediately asked Yuchuan to throw away this thing with an unknown origin. Returning home, he only saw Xiao Shi and Xiao Kai, not Jianan. That gift box made him pay attention again, but Yuchuan said it had been sent to the scrapyard, and the box had already been put in the incinerator today. He was extremely worried and wanted to go find it at the incinerator. But from behind him, Jianan's voice called him back. She was still alive, covered in dust. They had almost not been able to meet again. Bo Yin hugged her and cried without making a sound. Jianan gently patted his back, the ring on her hand glimmering. In the Liu family's villa, Jianan was carefully cleaned. She sincerely took Bo Yan's hand and suggested that they celebrate his birthday. At least from now on, his birthday wouldn't only be the day his father passed away, which dominated the entire day, but there would be other things that made people happy. Bo Yin had agreed. He had faced the darkness, so what else was impossible? So, after blowing out the candles and eating the birthday cake, he celebrated his birthday, and as a gift, she gave herself to him. Leaving the Liu family's villa, Xiao Kai and Xiao, she strolled by the rivalry. He didn't want to be left hanging like this with no results. He liked Xiaoxi and also hoped that Xiaoxi liked him, so they could become a sweet couple. His sincere feelings for Xiaoxi could be witnessed by heaven and earth, but Xiaoxi wasn't easily fooled. She had given him several conditions, saying that he should think carefully and decide later. It wouldn't be too late. Unexpectedly, the very next day, Xiaoxi called to ask him how things were going. She wanted to check. Xiao Kai was waiting at the bar. As soon as Xiaoxi entered, he proudly said that he had canceled all the bar's members. Secondly, had deleted all contacts with beautiful women on WeChat. And thirdly, immediately posted a message on his moments, vowing to love Xiaoxi forever. After completing these three things, Xiaoxi's mood was quite good, and she wanted to have a small drink with her new boyfriend. Needless to say, Xiao Kai would definitely be drunk in this gentle territory. Tonight, at the Tao Ran Literary Society, Chen Xian unexpectedly submitted her resignation. She was one of the long-term members who had been coddled by President Du all this time, and now suddenly asking to resign. 9 times out of 10, it was because she couldn't bear Jia Nan taking the spotlight. Chen Xian's attitude was very determined. Either she goes, or I go, and vice versa. The contract had already been set. There was no way to keep her. But thinking about the fact that the person he had supported had ultimately gone to work for President Bao of the Tao Ran Literary Society, President Du felt extremely frustrated. Chen Xian was also one of the leading female novelists. Jia Nan's overbearing chairman novel wasn't being updated, and the Tao Ran website had already abandoned male novels. Now, excellent female authors were encountering difficulties. It was truly unfair. As for Jia Nan, her happy life was soaring like a kite in the wind. She had spent the last 2 days working in front of the computer, planning to update all at once and bring an explosive benefit to her readers. Bo Yin walked around by her side for half a day, and upon hearing that she planned to promote her novel after that, Jianan quickly stopped him. This time, she wanted to see the real reactions of the readers, good or bad. It was all experience. So if she didn't need her husband's help with advertising, then they could search for inspiration together. Bo Yin pulled her onto the bed, kissing her passionately. Late at night, President Du was still at the Literary Society, still worrying about the future of the online literary world. Suddenly, a series of numbers on the website caused a shock. The newly warm feelings of the Liu family had quickly become number one. The readers' clicks had skyrocketed. Jianan had actually updated in the middle of the night. Early in the morning, President Du, while stroking the award cup, called Jianan. The hardworking novelist, still half asleep, appeared in the president's office. Everyone gathered, and the president solemnly presented Jia Nan with the Platinum Author Award Cup. In addition, her novel had risen to the top of the charts. If the number of pre-orders reached 100,000 copies, according to the regulations, she would be able to publish a book. This was the dream that she had cherished for a long time. She had contacted her loyal reader Ultraman about publishing the novel. She still felt unsure. Ultraman had shown her how many readers and fans she actually had. Her old fan group had now expanded to 10 groups. Putting down her phone, Jianan hugged Bo Yin, who had also just put down his phone. She had also told Bo Yin this good news. Although he wasn't surprised, he was also very much looking forward to it. Chen Xian, having signed with President Bao of the Tao Ran Literary Society, wouldn't stand to be inferior to Jianan. Therefore, she also wanted to do a pre-order for her book at the same time. Next to President Bao, she acted spoiled and stubborn, pulling in many sponsors, co-branding, and hiring a famous designer to draw the book cover. Jianan's side wasn't inferior either. If she couldn't directly ask Bo Yin to invest in sponsorship, then the two of them could draw a book cover together. Wouldn't that be even better? By the lake, a gentle breeze blew. Jianan took out paper and a pen, and Bo Yin held her hand, guiding her to draw their image in the mirror together. Such a meaningful book cover naturally attracted attention. After being reported by the media, her pre-order amount had far surpassed Chen Xian's by 18 miles. With the support of the beautiful and kind chairman of the Su Corporation, Jianan's novel had almost broken the record of the online literary world. Chen Xian at the Tao Ran Literary Society was both angry and anxious, but there was nothing else she could do. At times like these, Ruoxi always appeared at the right moment. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. She sent the video she had secretly taken of Rui Cheng and Jia Nan acting out the confrontation scene to Chen Xian. There was no need to use a single soldier. She just needed to borrow someone else's hand. The next day, the news was about the relationship between the three people: Jianan, Bo Yin, and Rui Cheng. Ultimately, who were the truly heaven-made couple? who was deliberately creating a false image to profit from the reader's traffic. This incident caused Jia Nan's novel to have its pre-orders canceled, and the pre-order amount decreased rapidly. However, thankfully, Bo Yin completely trusted her, and, together with Rui Chung, discussed and decided that the three would publicly clarify everything together. During the press conference, the three officially and truthfully clarified the truth. But there were people who didn't want this matter to pass easily. A reporter started to focus on sensitive points to incite emotions. Jia Nan was Bo Yan's wife. So why did she go to Rui Chung's film crew and cooperate so intimately? Happily cooperating with Rui Chung meant that she and Rui Chung were soulmates. So what was her relationship with Bo Yin? Rui Chung listened and became impatient. Bo Yin couldn't listen any longer and asked what newspaper the reporter was from. When the reporter asked uncomfortable questions, the two major chairmen were extremely dissatisfied. But at this moment, Jia Nan sighed as if she was about to explain something. She shared with the audience that, in reality, Bo Yin and Rui Chung had always been close friends from the bottom of their hearts, and it was only because of the competitive relationship between the two companies that they always had to maintain appearances. Of course, all of the above was a lie. Jia Nan's intention was to tell the media that their relationship was actually very good. There was no need to make a big deal out of it and cause trouble. With one glance from Jia Nan, the two understood immediately. A photo taken together between two century-old business rivals who were also good friends made it onto the front page, considered a skillful way to resolve the danger. This time, the reporter's questions didn't need to be asked to know who was behind stirring up the storm. Returning to Rui Jin Entertainment, Rui Chung threw his phone and warned Ruashi. There can't be a next time, otherwise, this place won't tolerate someone with indecent behavior. Even though the video had been clarified, the impression it left on the public still remained. With this blemish, the pre-order amount for Jia Nan's novel didn't increase much. Bo Yin looked at the data, charts, and thought of a way. He started a live stream to truly recreate the sweet daily life of Chairman Liu and his cute wife. He didn't believe that young boys and girls who enjoyed eating candy daily wouldn't be interested and click to pre-order. At the beginning, Bo Yin was clearly unfamiliar with live streaming, speaking stiffly as if he was giving a speech, introducing to everyone Jia Nan's 4 directions A position sleeping posture, and then recreating the scene of a kiss awakening the female lead. Under the screen, there were welcoming screams. Jia Nan, not knowing what he was doing, was about to launch herself at Bo Yin with a punch, but after reacting, she tried her best to maintain a serious expression and greeted everyone. The silly, adorable appearance caused another series of screams. At the same time, the pre-order amount for the novel on the online literary website also quickly increased again. In the following days, they continuously live-streamed many scenes recreated from the novel, such as going on a date on a path for couples, feeding each other ice cream, tying Jia Nan's shoelaces, and then being surrounded by a group of fans and having to run away in a flustered state, washing his wife's feet at home, and even recreating a bed scene. At this time, the fans couldn't hold back any longer. The pre-order amount directly skyrocketed all at once, reaching 1 million. Jia Nan was finally able to publish her first physical book. Xiao Kai, busy worrying about the release of Jia Nan's physical book, received deep praise from President Du Now. He was both busy with work and reaping the love from Xiao Shi. When he returned home, just as he was wanting to get affectionate with Xiao Shi, he learned that Xiao Shi's father, along with a bodyguard dressed in black, had come to visit. Xiao Shi's father held a folding fan in his hand and wore a gold chain around his neck, looking like a mafia boss, and pressed him about his relationship with Xiao Shi. He was scared and hurriedly said that they were roommates, and then hurriedly ran away. Xiao Shi's father, seeing that he didn't look proper, after checking Xiao Kai's previous romantic past, decided to test him one more time. A black cloth blindfolded Xiao Kai and took him to a lively place. Xiao Shi's father asked why he hadn't acknowledged his relationship with Xiao Shi that night. Xiao Kai hurriedly explained, and then voluntarily drank several glasses of wine. After 3 rounds of wine, Xiao Shi's father's attitude had softened, and he started talking about a relative who was coming to visit soon, Xiao Yu. After getting drunk, Xiao Kai woke up and saw a strange face smiling at him, scaring him. He hurriedly found Xiao Shi to explain. There was no need to panic, it was Xiao Shi's cousin. Xiao Kai's task for today was to spend the entire day playing with Xiao Yu. After a day, Xiao Yu conducted tests about the level of intimacy, and then reported the results to Xiao Shi's father, that this person really liked Xiao Shi and would think about Xiao Shi no matter what he did. After completing the first 2 rounds of tests, the final challenge began. Who would have thought that from not being able to control the cousin Xiao Yu, they could also create a fiancé who had been promised to Xiao Kai since childhood, making Xiao Kai grind his teeth in anger. Asking Bo Yin and his wife, they were also informed earlier of a unified story. It turned out this matter was real. Xiao Kai dragged Xiao Shi and ran to ask Xiao Shi's father to cancel the engagement. Perhaps it was his sincere words that touched him. This time, Xiao Shi's father was truly willing to help the young couple one time. After being together for some time, if Xiao Shi hadn't reminded him, Xiao Kai wouldn't even have remembered to buy her a pair of couple rings. The two held hands and went to the jewelry store, unexpectedly being taken away by that fiancé and his men. Next to appear was Xiao Shi's father. He was both angry and regretful because not only was he unable to persuade them to cancel the engagement, but he was also captured and beaten up. The fiancé ran around with a knife on Xiao Kai's neck. At this moment, whether to choose love or choose life completely depended on him. Xiao Kai's eyes were filled with tears. He gently said that his feelings for Xiao Shi were real, and then he felt a sharp pain in his stomach. He thought he would really die, so he said a final goodbye to Xiao Shi and fell to the ground, but discovered that he was fine, completely safe and sound. He then understood that perhaps he had passed the surprise test. Xiao Shi and he could be together forever. Xiao Shi had obtained love. Jianan had both love and success in her career. Immediately, Bo Yin sincerely invited Xiao Shi to join the Lu Corporation's media department, helping her with her career. Signing a contract to become an official artist, Xiao Shi started to be exposed to training about her figure and body language. On the first day, just smiling with 8 teeth was difficult for a hero. The road ahead of her was difficult, but fortunately, her attitude was always positive. At the Tao Ran Literary Society, President Du was flustered, not like his usual self. He suggested that Jianan forgive Chen Xian and could call her back because she had also been with the online literary website for many years. Jianan didn't understand why he was so flustered and vaguely realized that there was something else. When Chen Xian returned to the Tao Ran Literary Society, before Jianan could say anything, President Du sternly scolded her, completely without the embarrassed look he had before when he came to Jianan to ask for a favor. Chen Xian knew that she had done wrong and didn't expect to be forgiven. Her eyes filled with tears. She called out the president's name and, after apologizing, prepared to leave. Unexpectedly, it was Jianan who stopped her and reconciled the two of them. Chen Xian was grateful, shed tears, and from then on, worked diligently under the president. Jianan's novel became famous, and many companies wanted to buy the rights to adapt it into a movie. Initially, Jianan was also very happy, but then she discovered that the partners didn't understand anything about the novel. If she hastily sold the rights, it was feared that these teams, because they wanted quick profits, would make up something bad. Therefore, for several days in a row, she was busy receiving the heads of departments of various companies, hoping to find a sincere partner. Even though she searched for a long time without finding one, she was still tirelessly tired. Bo Yin looked at her, and his heart ached like it was being cut. He himself wanted to form a group for Jianan, but she refused, so he could only feel heartache. Besides, now they truly loved and understood each other, not like before. Therefore, he wanted to discuss with Jianan about organizing a big wedding again. But in reality, every day Jianan returned home and collapsed into his arms, exhausted, so this matter was delayed. The premiere of the movie, When Time Stops Flowing, arrived. Rui Chung brought invitations to find Bo Yin and his wife. Jianan was full of energy. This was the first movie she had participated in the screenplay for. Bo Yin, seeing that she was happy, also attended. During the premiere, the lead actress Ruo, she miraculously praised Jianan's talent. When a reporter asked about the success of the movie that was jointly made by Rui Chung and Jianan, whether they would cooperate again in the future, and if she could participate in the adaptation of Jianan's new novel, Rui Chung was naturally willing. When asked about Bo Yin, he kissed Jianan. He, of course, fully supported his wife. Jianan continued to meet with the heads of departments who intended to cooperate. Most of them came because she was Bo Yin's wife. No one saw the value in her novel. One day later, a TV movie company wanted to cooperate, and surprisingly, it was Rui Chung. He worked meticulously with clear logic, and had prepared a comprehensive and systematic plan, which completely fit Jianan's intentions. Therefore, they happily cooperated. Bo Yin waited for Jianan downstairs at the Tao Ran Literary Society. Jianan happily told him about the movie adaptation. Hearing that it was Rui Cheng's company, Bo Yan's face immediately became gloomy. Jianan knew, how could she not know, avoiding the conflict, the last time it had also erupted like this. One person thought it was impossible to be tolerant with such things, and the other said it was just a cooperative relationship, aligned in views. In short, both sides were determined and didn't listen to each other's explanations. The situation was again pushed towards a Cold War. The cooperation between Jianan and Rui Chung was bound to displease Bo Yin. Each one had carefully checked the contract they had signed, and there were no loopholes at all. Now this matter couldn't be stopped. Since it couldn't be stopped, then it was better to turn it into an investment. The entertainment company belonging to the Lu Corporation and Rui Cheng's Rui Jin Entertainment cooperated, becoming the production side. Bo Yin had made an appointment to meet with Rui Chung. Rui Chung had no objections. As long as Jianan agreed, he had no problems. That night, Bo Yin prepared a candlelit dinner. Jianan attended. Initially, she was quite impatient. She was busy preparing for the novel's adaptation, so busy that her hair was a mess. If you have something to say it quickly. After saying it, I still have to go. She was so busy that she had forgotten her own birthday. And if Bo Yin hadn't remembered, perhaps this birthday would have been missed again. With a snap of his fingers, after, the waiter pushed in a pink cake. Next to the glittering candles, it was written, "Happy birthday, my wife." Jianan hurriedly blew out the candles and made a wish, and then hurriedly wanted to leave. Bo Yin snapped his fingers again, calling out a cart full of gifts, big and small, all kinds of gift boxes tied with ribbons. Jianan opened them. There was a Barbie doll that she had always wanted since she was little, and also a pen that Bo Yin had promised to compensate her for since she was little, after he had accidentally broken it. The gifts that followed were diverse, from watches to earrings. Since Jianan had grown up, gradually changing each year, Bo Yin had thought about what Jianan might need, preparing gifts for her. Even if they didn't meet, he always thought about her, hoping to meet her again, hoping to be able to personally give these gifts to Jianan. Now, they were truly married and in love as in his dream. This was so fortunate. Before, he had been too narrow-minded, unable to accept Rui Chung lingering around Jianan. But now he and Rui Chung had talked and jointly invested in the novel's adaptation. He knew that Jianan might not like it, so he invested but didn't interfere with her opinions. He just wanted to participate in their story. After reaching a consensus, everything became relaxed. Bo Yin and Jianan were so close. Jianan was wanting to kiss him, but Bo Yin ruined the atmosphere by reminding her to eat cake. Even so, personally, feeding her was sweet enough. Bringing the cake to her mouth, Jianan opened her mouth to eat, but Bo Yin lifted her chin and finally they kissed. Before the witness of the media, the screenwriter and the two producers jointly signed the contract. The three shook hands and wished for happy cooperation. At the Tao Ren Literary Society, everyone began coordinating work, starting a lively discussion about this project. The director was still Director Gua. Rui Chung suggested that some plot points needed to be adjusted for the movie. Bo Yin objected. The original was still fine. Jianan also thought the same, that no adjustment was needed. Rui Chung then suggested that the movie title needed to be changed. The current title was too heavily geared toward the online literary world, which could make some viewers hesitant. Bo Yin still objected. Their sweet story had started from this title. A few issues, different opinions. This showed that everyone was doing it for the sake of the project, but every time Rui Chung made a suggestion, Bo Yin objected. This made Jianan feel dissatisfied. Jianan decided to ask for the readers' opinions. Ultraman was against it, no matter what, but most of the book fans thought it was acceptable. In the end, the movie title was still changed to Love You. In the contract, the selection of supporting actors had been completed, and now they were just waiting to determine the lead actors. She approached Rui Chung. She didn't demand to play the female lead. She only hoped to have the opportunity to improve and break her own limits. She wanted to play a villain. Rui Chung and Jianan were having a heated discussion about choosing the female lead. Bo Yin, by their side, was like a superfluous light bulb, since Rui Jin Entertainment was arranging Shi. Then on the Lu Corporation side, he proposed to let Shi play the female lead. Jianan was a bit angry and called Bo Yin outside. Bo Yin felt that this was absolutely not a problem. Shi was her friend, and she was progressing very quickly, so there was nothing she couldn't act. Jianan, on the other hand, thought that a good work shouldn't consider relationships, but should consider ability. Shi was improving, but this role was not suitable for her. If Bo Yin intentionally pulled Shi in, then that was just making a mess. Shi had just arrived at the Literary Society to find Jianan when she encountered Jianan after she had just argued with Bo Yin. Jianan froze. Xiaoxi didn't know what to say and turned to leave. Xiaoxi returned home sadly, continuously shedding tears in Xiao Kai's arms. Jianan was tired that night and didn't have the strength to talk to Bo Yin, deciding to talk the next night. Adapting a long-running novel was truly difficult. Jianan had a headache because of the revisions, and the sponsorships that Xiao Kai had pulled were all trivial things that didn't fit this sweet movie. Just at that time, Xiao Kai came to find her, asking about the matter with Xiaoxi. Before Jianan could find him, he had come first, giving a tirade without an apology or understanding. The relationship between Jianan and Xiao Kai, along with Xiaoxi, was considered to have cracked. Arguing with Xiao Kai not only didn't make her feel relieved, but it also made her have an even worse headache. Rui Chung came to comfort her and took her home. Today she and Bo Yin had agreed to talk. Bo Yin had personally prepared a table full of food. When she heard the noise outside, it was Rui Chung driving Jianan home again. Taking her home, when Jianan opened the door, she saw Bo Yin was angry, again asking about the matter between her and Rui Chung. Even though it was just a purely cooperative relationship, he had admitted that he was wrong to suspect things randomly, but he had committed the same mistake again. It was truly inexplicable. She flung her hand away from Bo Yan's and went inside. Seeing a table full of carefully prepared dishes, it was clear that the person who made them had put in a lot of effort. Jianan had forgotten that because she was too tired yesterday, she and Bo Yin had agreed to talk properly tonight. But she had returned late with Rui Chung again. The later she returned, the longer Bo Yin waited for her. And the first thing she did when she returned home was to appear very impatient with Bo Yin. Perhaps they needed to calm down. At the Tao Ran Literary Society, the film crew was officially established. To make communication easier, Rui Chung had booked a hotel for all the main members. When asked about Jianan, she still wanted to stay home. Even though the filming location was in Taoran, she wanted to spend time with Bo Yin. In the following working days, everyone was very enthusiastic and determined to make this movie good. During the working process, Jianan and Rui Chung discussed things. Everyone was busy walking around the literary society. Only Bo Yin was free, becoming superfluous. Busy until late at night, Jianan had just finished work, and by chance, she met Ruashi. She was struggling with her lines, unable to figure them out, so she pulled Jianan to Rui Cheng's room to chat together. It would be more effective. The chat went on until she felt sleepy and fell asleep. When she woke up, she was lying on the sofa. Ruashi and the supporting actor were nowhere to be found. She was covered by a coat belonging to Rui Chung. She hadn't returned home all night, hurriedly leaving the hotel, because today she still had a date with Director Gua. To go on a survey, she should have been the first person to think about Bo Yin being alone overnight. But now, she wasn't thinking about him at all. When she stepped out of the room, just as some people from the film crew were passing by, they saw Jianan step out of Rui Cheng's room early in the morning. Everyone started to speculate, wondering if they had spent the night together. When Bo Yin arrived at the film crew's hotel to find Jianan, before he could go upstairs, he heard the film crew members chatting excitedly. In the end, he didn't go upstairs. Another day passed, and as night fell, Jianan finally returned to the Liu family's villa. Bo Yin had again patiently waited a long day. The atmosphere was tense like before a storm. Where did you sleep? Last night. Did you sleep alone? Why was it with Rui Chung? Everywhere there is Rui Chung. How good is he? Jianan agrees with everything he says. Ultimately, does Jianan love him or Rui Chung? It was both an investment in the novel, but Rui Cheng's plan was the best plan, while his opinion was rejected. Why? Jianan's dream needed someone else to realize. So what is he then? Jianan was also yelled at by him, causing her to lose her mind. For a novel, she worked hard every day, putting in so much effort. All of this, Bo Yin didn't see. He only paid attention to which man she was close to every day. What was the point of such love? Bo Yin gave her back the contract. Initially, Jianan gave him back the ring that she had. They decided to get a divorce. Bo Yin withdrew from the investment in the novel's adaptation. Jianan moved to the film crew's hotel. She would have to face a major financial shortfall. For Jianan, Rui Chung was willing to use everything to fill this shortfall. And Ruashi appeared at this moment. Her aid at this time was a bit too early. It was better to wait for Jianan to be even more miserable. That despair would make Rui Chung become Jianan's light. Finally, she had split up Bo Yin and Jianan. Ruashi had signed a contract and returned to the Liu Corporation. Jianan stood sadly on a bridge, and Rui Chung appeared, starting to confess his love. He always remembered the girl from 3 years ago who had worn a mask and bandaged his wound. Now, that person was standing in front of him, and he wanted to give all his effort to that girl. But unfortunately, Rui Chung was only moving himself. Between Jian Nan and him, there could only be friendship. In the evening, when reason fell asleep and emotions were released, it always made people feel sad. The marriage certificate was still new, so why not long after that? Did she and Bo Yin separate? A knock on the door rang out. Jian Nan's father came to visit her. Her grievances and pain became even more profound. No more friends, no more love, and no more career. She had almost lost everything she once had. What was she supposed to do now? Her father comforted her, stroking her back. People always have to experience suffering and injustice. Sometimes they aren't understood and are stubborn, and in the end, they hurt themselves. Gradually, people will find a balance and find a comfortable way to be with each other. Finally, her father invested in the project. His daughter's dream could continue. Moving forward, Jian Nan personally went to find Xiaoxi. Last time, Xiaoxi was extremely sad, and no matter what she said, she wouldn't easily open the door. Fortunately, Jian Nan had a spare key to her house, preventing Xiaoxi from not listening to her explanation. In the past few days, she had been so busy that she had forgotten everything. Nothing was more important than her novel, to the point that she forgot her friends, forgetting Xiaoxi, who had shared her difficulties with her. She sincerely wanted Xiaoxi to forgive her. She would always save a role for Xiaoxi, but not the lead role. She would give her the role that was most suitable for her. After Father Su invested, the project continued to proceed normally, but Ruoxi continued to provoke Rui Chung. With just a bit more fire, Jian Nan would belong to him. The final words were typed, the script was finally revised and completed. Having achieved such a big result, Jian Nan didn't feel happy at all. Without Bo Yin by her side, everything she did seemed to become dull. Bo Yin loved her very much. It was Bo Yin who had taken her to their old school and confessed loudly. It was Bo Yin, on the first day of their marriage, who had played around and not let her leave the house. It was also Bo Yin who had stayed by her bedside and taken care of her all night when she had stomach pain. All of this was Bo Yin of Jian Nan, but now she seemed to have lost him because of her stubbornness about some things that seemed important. She had won back Xiaoxi. Now, she wanted to go find Bo Yin. In her phone's contact list, the name Rotten Radish was still there. Jian Nan hesitated, not knowing if she should call Bo Yin. Just at this moment, Ruoxi and Bo Yin were on television. She had signed a contract to return to the Lu Corporation and was participating in a jewelry brand event with Bo Yin. On the screen, they were being called the Golden Couple. Bo Yin put a ring on Ruoxi's finger, and she kissed Bo Yin under the encouragement of the audience. The call that Jian Nan wanted to make became voiceless. Jian Nan gradually became more excited, and tears kept falling non-stop. It turned out Ultraman had always been there since then. It turned out that over the years, he had always been far away at the ends of the earth, yet right in front of her eyes. The strange thing was that recently, at the film crew, people had continuously been leaving. Finally, even director Guo chose to leave. Xiaoxi heard the junior staff say that it was because Bo Yin had put out a word that anyone who worked in this film crew would face the risk of being banned. Jian Nan didn't believe it. How could Bo Yin, with his personality, do such a thing? She asked Xiaoxi to help her with something. Director Guo was packing his suitcase. He hadn't even walked 2 steps out of the hotel when a truck arrived, blindfolded him with a black cloth, and directly took him to Xiaoxi's father. The method and way were exactly the same as when they had dealt with Xiao Kai. Xiaoxi's father used both threats and coercion, and in the end, he couldn't stand it anymore and had to take action. And director Guo finally told the truth. Half of the film crew members had left, including the rumor that Bo Yin had banned the entire film crew, all of which was spread by Rui Chung himself. This was a play that was directed by Rui Chung himself. Ruoxi had previously told him that only when Jian Nan was in a situation of the utmost poverty and helplessness, and then he would raise his hand to help, resolving the crisis, that at that time Jian Nan would definitely appreciate him even more, and that appreciation might ultimately lead them to be together. The news reached Jian Nan. It turned out that Rui Chung had had the intention of approaching her from the beginning. On the surface, he was a gentleman, but behind the scenes, he was thinking about how to break her relationship with Bo Yin. The ridiculous thing was that she had actually been tricked. Therefore, now, the urgent matter was to find her Bo Yin again. She went to the company to find Bo Yin, but the security guards threw her out. It seemed that Bo Yin had decided not to meet her. When she was wondering how to meet Bo Yin, Rui Chung, with a face full of smiles, told her that all of the film crew's main creatives had been persuaded by him to return. He had expected Jianan to be happy and grateful, but Jianan only quickly expressed her gratitude and then continued to focus on finding Bo Yin. At the scene, Jianan was surrounded by people, the flashing lights and microphones around her. Today, she was the main character here. Besides the media, there were also many fans, and also Bo Yin standing far away in the crowd. After completing all the official Q&A sessions, Jianan loudly searched for Ultraman. In the crowd, she called Bo Yan's phone, and the ringtone from afar attracted everyone's attention. Jianan approached him. After a few days of not seeing each other, the longing surged like sea waves in her heart. Perhaps only when losing someone did you realize how much you love them. She couldn't be without Bo Yin, and he also loved Jianan deeply. This arguing should end here. There was no need to make a mess anymore. Amidst the cheering and encouragement of everyone, Jianan kissed Bo Yin on the lips. Rui Cheng stood behind the stage, holding flowers, and Rua, she seemed as if she had lost the whole world. They had all left. Rui Cheng left, taking with him regret and unrequited love for Jianan, leaving Tao Ran City. Rua, she was in pain because of Bo Yin. She had done everything to this extent, and in the end, she received nothing, even pushing Bo Yin further away. Yuchuan had never seen Rua Shi so disappointed. He was both sympathetic and angry. In Rua Shi's eyes, there was only Bo Yin. When would Rua Shi turn her head to see what Yuchuan had done for her? As long as Rua Shi turned her head, she would definitely find Yuchuan. After Bo Yin and Jianan reconciled, both sets of parents were very happy. The journey to get here hadn't been easy. They wanted to organize a wedding again, a beautiful and grand wedding. However, they had to wait until the filming for Jianan's novel was completed. This long wait was truly a form of torture. Bo Yin went to work, while Jianan had to go back and forth to the film set every day. The two spouses had to be separated like this for several days. Bo Yin had already chosen the wedding dress, but the bride still hadn't returned. He couldn't wait any longer, so he called Yuchuan to prepare the car. He wanted to go to the film set to find Jianan. He carried the ring, sitting in the car on the way to the film set. Unexpectedly, a mischievous child on the road caused the car to brake sharply. After Bo Yin lost consciousness and then woke up, he had lost his memory, not remembering the events of the past 3 months. When Jianan finally finished work and returned home, she saw such a Bo Yin and angrily asked him about his going to the bar. Calculating the time, it was around the time they had just started living together. She hadn't had the inspiration to write, so she had gone to a bar with Xiao Shi, practicing once. This petty Bo Yin was naturally not happy, and if he wanted to pretend to have amnesia, then Jianan was also willing to accompany him. She wanted to see how long this person could pretend. The script was repeated again. Even the words were almost identical. Jianan went to Bo Yan's room. There really wasn't anything of hers there. The story truly went back to 3 months ago, when they were not familiar with each other. Bo Yin chased her out of the room. She relied on her memory and wrote and acted out a novel herself. The strangely loud voice caused Bo Yin to carry her back to the bedroom. Unexpectedly, Bo Yin carried her to put her on the bed, but she didn't let go, saying that as a long-time married couple, their feelings were deep, so they should sleep together. Waking up in the morning, taking a shower, they even argued about who should take off their clothes first. Such a free and uninhibited attitude frightened Bo Yin quite a bit. Jianan felt that everything seemed to be becoming more and more real. It seemed that Bo Yin wasn't pretending to have amnesia. She hurriedly found Xiao Shi and Xiao Kai to analyze things. They concluded that according to Bo Yan's script, now was exactly the time for him to madly protect his wife. Therefore, a photo of Jianan and Xiao Kai together appeared in Bo Yan's friend circle. Sure enough, not even half an hour later, Bo Yin arrived, wanting to take Jianan away. Xiao Kai and Xiao Shi used both threats and advice to make Bo Yin take Jianan away. At the hospital, after looking at the x-ray, the doctor said that Bo Yin had periodic amnesia, so he wasn't pretending. This made the situation the worst it could be. Jianan went to the company, bringing porridge for Bo Yin, and made a date with him to have dinner together tonight. In reality, she had prepared a novel file telling their story. Since he had forgotten, she would tell him everything again. But Bo Yin didn't come. The person who came was Yuchuan. Yuchuan said that an artist from the company had made a date with Bo Yin to go to the square by the sea. Jianan didn't bring anything and ran outside, naturally also going to the square by the sea. At the beach, a gentle breeze blew. Passers-by were strolling, Neon lights decorated the trees by the path, illuminating the way for Jianan. Suddenly, in front of her, a crowd was dancing. They danced and gradually surrounded her in the center, slowly leading her forward. In front of her, there were two people wearing Ultraman and Little Monster costumes, simulating their interactions bit by bit. Because of the television remote at home, Jianan had stepped on Bo Yan's foot. At the Su family's New Year celebration, they had danced gracefully. When escaping from the escape room, she had brought light and warmth to Bo Yan. When Jianan had period pains, Bo Yan had stayed by her side. When she drank medicine, he brought her candy with kisses too. Resist the darkness of hide and seek. All of these were precious memories that belonged only to them. When the crowd dispersed, Bo Yan stood in the night wind and flowers. Those on both sides waved neon lights. They were all their friends. On the long road, there was President Du, there was Xian, there was Xiao Shi, there was Xiao Kai, but most importantly, there was him, her Bo Yan, who was waiting for her from the front. Jianan slowly approached the center of the heart-shaped candles. Bo Yan's face was full of joy and happiness. He knelt on one knee, the ring glittering brightly. He declared to her that he was proposing to her. They kissed under the starry sky, under the blessing of their friends and family. Xian and President Du were living together more and more naturally, sometimes even feeling a little embarrassed. Meanwhile, Yuchuan resigned from his job. Because Ruo she wanted to leave, she had the courage to start over from the beginning, so Yuchuan, naturally, would be by her side. Xiao Shi was live streaming when she received an award. Xiao Kai always stood close by. In front of the library, he proudly shouted that this was his wife. Father Su and her mother-in-law were discussing the future of their grandchild, how many there would be, and how they would be divided. Meanwhile, Jianan was still circling around Bo Yan, while reciting clause number 94 of the contract, that Bo Yan was not allowed to hide anything from her. Finally, they discussed the duration, and together, they said in unison, for a lifetime. This is where the story ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to not miss out on more amazing videos. For now, goodbye and until next time.